Hello, my name is Caroline. Today I'm starting a new series on my channel called How to Make an AlexaPi. And that reminds me, if you do have an Amazon Echo in the room, please put it on mute, as I will be using the wake word Alexa frequently during these videos. Now, what is an AlexaPi? AlexaPi is the Alexa voice service installed on a Raspberry Pi. And in this video, I'm using a Raspberry Pi 3B, or you could use a Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. I would not recommend using a Raspberry Pi 0W just because of the processing power, and also because it doesn't have an audio output, and you would have to get a voice hat, you would have to get a micro USB to USB connector. So by the time you invested in all of that, in my opinion, I think you should just go with the Raspberry Pi 3B or 3B Plus. I've actually done this project several times on my channel. The first time was over 2 years ago. It was a completely different tutorial. It was out on GitHub, put out by Amazon. It took me 6 hours to do that tutorial because I installed each of the components individually, and it was quite a long tutorial. But we did get it working, and if you've got 6 hours and want to watch that, I'll link over to that set of videos. Then about over a year ago, Amazon updated that tutorial where you're installing all the components all at once. So I ran through that, and a few months ago, a viewer such as yourself sent me the code to do the auto boot. That way, every time you turned on your Raspberry Pi, it automatically went into the Alexa voice service. So I updated at that point, which was a few months ago. Very, very recently, Amazon has done a new tutorial. It is now on their Amazon developer page, and it has specific instructions if you're using a Raspberry Pi. So since I'm so invested in this, I thought I would run through that tutorial with you. So today is part one. We're doing a basic tutorial, and we're going to install the voice service, Alexa voice service, on the Raspberry Pi. Next week, we are going to hack the AlexaPi, which is, there are components that are hackable in this project. For example, number one, these LEDs. They light up when I'm speaking or when it's listening, and then when she's speaking. I'm going to add that. I'm also going to customize some of the audio sounds that you hear. And also there's prioritization of which thing she does first and second or third. So that's going to be kind of cool. So please do join me next week for hacking AlexaPi. And then 2 weeks from now, I will release another video called how to auto boot AlexaPi. So the way that they do the tutorials, you have to have a mouse and a keyboard to launch the AlexaPi, Alexa voice service every single time you want to use it on your Raspberry Pi. That gives you more flexibility in case you want to load other programs on it. So it's great, but the number one question I get asked on this channel is, how do I just auto boot into Alexa every single time? I'll cover that in 2 weeks from now. So please stay tuned. Please do subscribe. If you like this video, please hit the like button. Everybody else says that on YouTube, so I'm going to say that too. Please, thank you. Why do this project? I get asked that all the time. Why should I do this project? To be honest with you, the first time I did this project over 2 years ago, maybe 3 years now, I don't know, it's been a while now, these Echo devices retailed at $180 plus tax, and so doing this with the Alexa was actually cheaper. And this was really my first Alexa product that I owned or had experiences with. So it was really cool. Now the prices, the Dot has gone down to $50. You can get it on sale for $40 pretty regularly on Amazon. So if your intent is to not buy an Echo device, but you want an Echo device, it is cheaper to just buy the Dot than buy the Raspberry Pi plus all the other materials you'll need for this project. So don't do it for that reason. One of the reasons you want to build your AlexaPi is for the learning aspect of it. So on the terminal screen, as you can see to my left or so, I have the commands that are running on the terminal that you'll be able to see once you install the Alexa voice service on your Raspberry Pi. So right now I've got the microphone off, and I'll just hit enter, turn the microphone back on, and then now you can see it's idle. It's waiting for that wake word. I'm going to say, Alexa, what is 2 plus 3?
2 plus 3 equals 5.
And that is what you see that you don't with just a regular Amazon Echo. And that's one of the reasons to do this project, hopefully getting more interested in technology in general for all ages. Why does Amazon put out their code so that we can make our own? In my opinion, the reason Amazon puts out the code is because they're looking for device manufacturers to integrate the Alexa voice service into their device. For example, this Rove Viva is an Alexa in your car, and they've integrated that into their device. And this is an aftermarket product. What Amazon is hoping to do is to get car manufacturers to integrate Alexa into their cars. So this is just an example of one reason that Amazon puts out the code, is so that manufacturers can put Alexa in their products, and then that spread the adoption rate of Alexa for them. Now let's get back to why you would want to do this project. Yes, it's a great learning opportunity. I've done this project with a group of high school girls as part of a STEM project, and I hope in that project that I sparked an interest in pursuing a career in technology. That was my purpose in doing that project with high school girls. So I have heard of people doing this with kids. I think when this tutorial first came out, there were developers in countries where they did not sell these Echo devices, so really making one was really their only choice, and having something to test on, to write skills, or to learn more about this product, to learn coding. So if you are considering doing this project, please continue watching. If not, you can just watch the process and see if this is something you want to do for yourself. The materials you need for this project include, you'll need your Raspberry Pi 3B or B+. You'll need a microphone. The microphone I'll link to is a lot smaller than this one. This is a microphone I am using that I got from a video game, or this is one I already had. You'll need a speaker. You'll need the 3.5 millimeter male-to-male cable to connect your Raspberry Pi to this. You'll need a keyboard, a mouse, and a monitor, and an internet connection. I will start from the very beginning on how to put the operating system, the Raspbian operating system, on your Raspberry Pi, but you will need at least an 8 to 16 gigabyte micro SD card for your Raspberry Pi. I also need to do a demo with you on what the AlexaPi does and how it works. Alexa, say hello in French.
Hello in French is salut.
So back to my point about this doesn't work exactly like an Echo. So for example, I'll say to my Echo, Alexa, play Pandora.
Getting the last Pandora station Caroline listened to, today's hits radio.
Alexa, stop. So Pandora works great on my Amazon Echo, but on my Pi, I'm going to say, Alexa, play Pandora.
Pandora is not supported on this device.
Yes, so so if you really like music, really just purchasing an Echo is the way to go. Alexa, what is 2 plus 2?
2 plus 2 equals 4.
So she can do calculations. So these are a few of the functionalities you'll see. You can also, if you write skills, you can also test them out on your Pi here. So one of my favorite skills is, Alexa, open cat food. And it plays a recording of me opening a can of cat food. So if you have a cat, you'll get this joke. So please do enjoy my skills that I have out on Amazon. You can search for me as I'm Crafty C in the Amazon skill store. I will link to that below if you want to see the skills I've developed. So you can test your skills. You can get the basic Amazon commands, but music, not so much. So I did do a video last week on Plex, so let's see if Plex works on here. Alexa, ask Plex to play Tina Turner.
Playing music by Tina Turner.
So the Plex server does work on here. Alexa, stop. But your results may vary. Let's get started with the tutorial. Today is the basic install, and we're going to switch over to a screen record now. And the first thing we're going to do is in our browser, we're going to go to raspberrypi.org here, and then go to downloads, where we'll download the latest image. Now, I usually go with the Raspbian. It is a very large download here. I go with Raspbian Stretch with desktop, and I will download that zip. The next step is to open my Etcher. Now, Etcher is a free download on etcher.io right here, and you can download it for your respective system. And I've already downloaded and installed it, so I'll just open Etcher on my desktop here. I'll start by taking my micro SD card, inserting it into an adapter, and then inserting it into the computer right here. And I'm going to select my image. I'm going to select the Raspbian stretch right here. And then it's already found my micro SD card. I insert it, and then I'm going to hit flash. And this will take anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. So I'll be right back. And Etcher is done flashing Raspbian onto our micro SD card. So once that is complete, I can simply remove this from my computer. Next, let's move over to our Raspberry Pi setup. So I've got my micro SD card out of my sleeve here. I'm going to take my Raspberry Pi here, flip it over, and insert the micro SD card into the Raspberry Pi just like this. Then I want to plug in the USB ports here. I want to plug in my mouse and keyboard combo. I want to add my HDMI input here. I also want to go ahead and attach my microphone. This is the microphone right here, and then this is the speaker, 3.5 millimeter jack right here. Let's put this all together, and last but not least, of course, let's power this up. And this is a brand new Raspbian system here, so it's going to walk me through a few steps here. And I'm in the US, so I'll select that, and I'll put down New York time. Next, and I'll set up my password, and I'll get myself on the internet here. And now I'm on the internet here, and it's going to check for updates. This is going to take a while here, so I will be right back. And my system is up to date now. I'll hit OK, and then we'll reboot this Raspberry Pi. And here we are, we have Raspbian loaded on our Raspberry Pi here. The minimum requirement at this point is that you need to have your Raspberry Pi on the internet, either wired or wireless. And first step is we're going to open up our browser here, and we're going to developer.amazon.com, and we're going to select Alexa. And you have a few choices here. We're going to select Alexa Voice Service, Learn, and then we're going to Tutorials, and we'll get to Alexa Voice Service Tutorials. And you'll see today we'll do introductory tutorials. Next week we will do advanced tutorials. We'll do sounds, modify, and implement LEDs. And the last week will be auto boot. So let's get started with creating your developer account and AVS device profile. And here, this note right here is actually super important. If you've done this project before, like I have, there is a new step in the register a product. So you do have to go through this process again. You don't actually have to create a new product. You can modify your current product. And I'll show you how to do that here. So it really steps you through how to do that here. So I'm just going to, so I do recommend following these instructions. I'm going to open a new tab. Go to developer.amazon.com again, and I'll link to this below in the description field, but I'm going to select Developer Console. I am going to sign in. I've already signed in to this device, so I have created a login and password, and I'm going to select Alexa Voice Service in the Developer Console. And here you'll see my products. So the first one I created was my device, and then in one of my videos I created my device number 2. Now I haven't figured out how to delete a product, so I'm not going to create another product, but the instructions over here on this page will walk you through creating a new product. So assuming you already have your product created from a previous tutorial, I'm going to click Manage, and then I'm going to select Security Profile. And then I'm going to select Other Devices and Platforms. There is on the tutorial here, it's not showing up for me. I'm going to click Generate ID, agree to terms and conditions, and hit Finish. Prototype with Raspberry Pi. So once again, I'll show you the required hardware It's a Raspberry Pi 3. They're showing a 16 gig micro SD card, headphones. This is the microphone that they recommend. I will link to that below. And for the advanced tutorial, you will need this breadboard and LED GPIO breakout pin as well. Next, I'm going to set up our Raspberry Pi. I've already shown you this, so we will skip over this. This is where we have the Raspbian, installing the Raspbian system. Next, we are going to input our credentials. And for this step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a half screen so that I can start a terminal right here. And I'll make my terminal the other side of the screen. Here we are at inputting the AVS credentials, and we've got several commands we're going to run all at once here, and I'm going to right click copy and then go over to my terminal and then right click paste, and this will run the install Pi shell script here along with a few other commands too. Next, we're going to open up our file explorer, and we're going to select the config.txt file here, right here. We're going to right click and open with our text editor. And I'm going to click OK. And we want to enter in our client ID and product ID. Now, where do we get this client ID and product ID? Well, we need to go back over to our console here, and here is our client ID. So there's a copy button here, and I'll go over to client ID, and I will hit paste. And then the product ID is under information, product ID. And then I'm going to right click and paste. So I right clicked and copied my device under to, and I'm going to right click here, and now I'm going to save this file, Control S, save. And they do have very specific instructions not to use the first client ID you see, but the one under where you created in the last step. And that's it for this step. I'm going to close out my config.txt file here. Next, we're going to build the AVS device SDK, and it wants me to run cd home pi. That just make sure we're in the right directory. I believe I'm in that directory already, but I'll go ahead and follow the instructions here. And then I want a sudo bash setup with the config.txt file. Copy that, right click, copy that, right click, paste over here, enter, and it will ask me if I agree. I'm going to type in agree. And this step will take a few minutes here. I believe there is another prompt before I finish, and I'll let you know when we get to that. And we have been running this install script for about 10 minutes or so right now, and I've come up to a part where it says cloning and building sensory, and it says press return to review the license agreement and update files. I'll hit return. And there's a license and copyright I'm reviewing here. Do I accept this license agreement? Yes, I do. I'll type in yes, hit enter. And now we are saving the audio configuration file. And this will run for another few minutes. So I'll be right back. And here we are. We've completed the configuration build right here. That did take a while. I would say I spent about 30 minutes on that. And next we'll get the refresh token. And we are in the home Pi directory. I am just going to simply sudo bash start sample right here. And I have copied paste sudo bash start sample.sh, or you can just type it into your terminal. And there are a lot of messages here. Let's see, it says authorization pending. Let's see, now I am looking for, and I'm going to scroll back up here to find where I can authorize. And it's right here, to authorize browse to HTTPS Amazon US code. I'm going to right click, copy the URL. Actually, I'm going to hit copy, not copy URL. And then I'm going to open a new tab over here, and I'm going to paste and go. And then I need this following code right here. So I'm going to right click copy. I'm going to sign in. I'm going to say keep me signed in. I'm going to sign in here. and I'm going to paste my code right here. I'm going to hit continue, and I'm going to click allow to sign in to Alexa voice service sample app security profile. Allow. And success. Registration is now complete. And now let's give it a shot. Alexa, what is 2 plus 2?
2 plus 2 equals 4.
And that's it for the screen record. Let's switch back over to the feed. And we're back. Now we've done a reboot, and I'm going to show you how to start the Alexa voice service every time you turn on your computer. Now, 2 weeks from now, when I do the auto boot tutorial, you won't have to do this anymore. For this week and next week, we will be starting our Alexa voice service in this method. So I've rebooted my computer. I've gone ahead and opened up Chromium just so you can see the commands. Now the commands is something new that is part of this tutorial that wasn't a part of the first two tutorials, and it's really cool. I'll give you a demo in just a second after we get this started. So that's on the left, and on the right side of my screen is the terminal window. And to start our Alexa voice service, we need to run the sudo bash start sample.sh script from the HomePi default directory. Let's do that right now. Directory. And here we go. We've started it up again. So let's see if it's working. Alexa, what is 2 plus 3?
2 plus 3 equals 5.
And there we go. And so let's talk about the keyboard options that you have with this version of the sample. So if you want to mute the microphone, and if you have a regular echo, you mute the microphone and it turns red. You press this button to mute it, and then I'll press it again to unmute it. How do we do that on the AlexaPi? The M button on the keyboard, and it should say microphone off. And there it is. So M and enter, microphone off. So then I'll say, Alexa, what is a joke? And she won't respond. The microphone is off now. To turn back on the microphone, I'll hit M, enter again, and I'll say, Alexa, what is 3 plus 3?
3 plus 3 equals 6.
And there you go. So her microphone is back on. Let's say you don't want to say the wake word. You can also trigger by pressing the T button, hitting enter, and then say, what is 2 plus 1?
2 plus 1 equals 3.
And that is a way to control the Alexa voice service with your keyboard. So there are a couple more options in here. I have, in the tutorial, you'll see the page of different commands, but just thought I'd do a quick demo for you right now. And to quit, you press the Q button and enter, and you're out of the Alexa voice service once again. So once again, just to review, to start the Alexa voice service on your Raspberry Pi, open a terminal and run sudo bash start sample.sh. There we go. And then just another quick demo for you. Alexa, tell me a joke.
Why did Batman cross the road? Find out next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
And that concludes our tutorial for this week, installing the Alexa voice service on your Raspberry Pi. Next week, please join me for hacking AlexaPi. We'll be adding LEDs, we will be adding sounds, and we will be changing the priorities of how she responds. And then join me in 2 weeks for how to auto boot into AlexaPi. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. See you next time. Bye now.